Hello and welcome back to my channel if you are new here. Hi, my name is Jessie. I do bookish, bullet journal, and lifestyle content here on YouTube, and welcome to day 21 of Vlogmas. So today we are going over the books I read for the Orilliumm mini readathon LightFall installment. It's a long name, but we're gonna get into the 6 books I read, and spoiler alert, not all of them were on the list in the first place. Actually, I don't know if any of the books I read were on my original TBR. But that's just how it goes. So without further ado, let's dive right in. I have my little notebook with all of the notes and the books that I read. Starting with Smith and Friends and Sons Arcane Goods and Such. Gee, I really hope you meant those to be tongue twisters, because the other one I chose was Wally's Wonderful Winter Whamminals. That is a tongue twister and very hard to say. Number 1 for Smith and Friends, that's what I'm going to call it for short form, was a contemporary romance, and I read The Deal Dilemma by Megan Brandy. This book follows Crew and Davis. Crew was her big brother's best friend. Crew and her brother, Memphis, moved to LA to go to school there. Davis followed soon after high school. Davis wants to get rid of her V card, so she asks Crew, and little do either of them know they've both had a crush on each other for a very, very long time. Crew does not want to cross that line, not only because, but throughout the novel we do kind of find out that Davis's brother was quite manipulative, and Crew became his fall guy. Their parents took Crew in when he was very, very young. It is so good. It's them reconnecting because they haven't talked much in the last 5 years. So Davis is graduating university or college. Crew owns or runs a bar. It was cute. The scenes were pretty steamy. The relationship building between Crew and Davis was actually really enjoyable. I gave this 4 stars. Next was a book set during the holidays. I chose Damaged Player by R.C. Stevens. This is book 6 in the Westfall U series, and we follow Kate and Noah. Kate's older brother is a hockey player, and she has had a crush on his best friend for as long as she can remember. She is also a tutor, so when the hockey coach enlists her to help her crush for the season, as he is not used to doing the work actually on his own, and he has a tendency to sleep with his tutors, she's very hesitant but excited at the same time. Kate's friends enlist her to go out and have a good time because she doesn't really. Kate has a prosthetic leg. She lost her leg in an accident, and she feels like damaged goods. So she says yes. She encounters Noah. Noah is a transfer to their school and is also a hockey player on the same team as her crush. But Noah is quite new. He transferred because his mom is very sick and he wanted to be closer to her. Leaving in his, I think it's senior year. It is set in the US. I'm Canadian. We don't have senior, junior, any of that. It's his last year to play and get drafted into the NHL, but he's having a hard time meshing with his teammates because he isn't there very often. He encounters Kate and they sit and chat, and he notices that she keeps looking at one of his teammates and he needs a tutor. So he says, "I'll help you get your crush's attention if you help tutor me." So they kind of fake date to get this boy that she's had a crush on forever, only to find out he may not be what she wants. 4.5 stars. It was so cute. I loved it. The dialogue was good. The conflict could have been a little bit better, but I totally understood where it was coming from. I hope that the amputee rep was good because it read very real. It read like an actual experience that someone could have. I personally don't know anybody and am not an amputee myself, so I hope the rep was good because it read very well. Prompt number 3 was read a book published this year, and I read The Heist by Tate James, the first book in the Valenshek legacy. And it is set in Shadow Grove, which is where the Madison Kate series takes place, as well as the Hades series. We follow John and Tristan. John is a thief. That's his career. He is a thief. And he is part of... Sorry, I have something in my eye. He participates in this game every year, and he has won the last 5 years and wants to do so again. In this game, whoever the judges are, gives him an artifact or an item to steal. He has to complete in a time frame. He has to complete it, have it verified, and then he's given his next round or item to steal. The last round of this game, everybody is after the same artifact or item. It turns out to be a painting. The only way that he can really think to get close enough to this painting is to befriend Tristan. Tristan is a teacher's assistant. He does not know that Tristan is a she, so their first encounter is quite hilarious. He not only insults her painting, but also insults her as a person, not knowing that she is his teacher assistant as he is taking over for a professor who is ill. The teacher professor that Tristan reports to, I guess you could say. But Tristan's other job, other than being a TA, is restoring old paintings for a not so good, wealthy old man. Any guesses on what painting she is restoring? The same painting that John has to steal, and their relationship is funny. The banter is hilarious. It's just a really fun time. I also gave this book 4 stars. Now moving on to Wally's Wonderful Winter Whaminals. The first prompt was a fantasy read. I chose Queen of Quintessence by Tessa Hale, which is the 3rd book in the Royals of Kingwood Academy. The first book being The Lost Elemental. We have our main character, I forget her name. She is human. In the human world, they know about the Fae. At 18, you are tested to see if you have any magical abilities. The Fae have one of the 4 elemental magics: water, fire, earth, and air. Each affinity has its own kingdom as well, so there's Terra and so on and so forth. Our main character is going to get tested with her best friend. Her best friend really wants a reverse harem as well as magical abilities. Turns out her friend has no magical abilities, but when she is tested, her readings are off the chart. She is quickly whisked away from her home and is brought to the Kingwood Academy. This academy is where all of the students from every kingdom go to master their abilities, and nobody there really wants her there. Shocking. But each kingdom has a prince, and she oddly feels drawn to the 4 of them. Mean girls are mean, and I really loved the banter between all of them, but I also loved how each prince had his very own personality with a common thread of they're all kind of in the same boat, so they've bonded very, very closely. Our main character just fits right in with that bond so seamlessly. Tessa Hale really did that like phenomenally, because It feels like all the characters are meant to be together. It wasn't forced. It wasn't, oh, this is unrealistic. It read very seamlessly, and I very much enjoyed that aspect. I also loved that we kind of have a split down the middle. So two of the princes don't have good relationships with their fathers, and then two of them have good relationship with their families. I loved how they all had their own backstory, and it was an info dumpy, and this world is so expansive, but explained so well. I didn't find, like I said, it was info dumpy whatsoever. I gave this book 4.5 stars. Then we had read a book with an animal on the cover. I maybe cheated this a little bit, but the book is called Black Sheep. So I took that as an animal on the cover. Sheep. I'm gonna take it. And that was by Bryn Weaver and Alexa Harlow. And in this novel, we follow Bria Brooks and Dr. Elijah Kaplan. Bria is a serial killer. She does not process emotion or really filter what she's thinking. And she kind of puts on this normal human act for her everyday life, I guess you could say. She has learned everything she knows from her found guardian. I forget what his name is, but he found her duct taped or tied it to a chair in the middle of the desert because she is from a cult and she was tagged as born of the devil, so they wanted to get rid of her. She goes to university. She is super smart, and she's also vowed to kill all the men like the leaders of the cult she came from. She has set her sights on the leader of this famous cult, and nobody has laid eyes on him or knows what he looks like, but he has connections that she knows about, and she's trying to get to him through them. Unexpectedly, she is supposed to meet with a professor to go over her thesis for university, not connected whatsoever, only to find out that her professor is actually working with the FBI, who is trying to find this guy, aka Dr. Elijah Kaplan. Now, from the doctor's perspective, because we also get his POV in this story, he is at a cafe going over this thesis for one of his students, Bria, and he sees this beautiful woman at the cafe, and he totally disregards what he's supposed to be doing and kind of stares at this woman, and she stares him down like, I see you looking at me, but I'll be looking at you too. Then he meets his student, only to find out that it's the same girl. They kind of grow their relationship. There's a huge twist to this story that I honestly didn't see coming, and it made the story that much more intriguing. It was so good. I gave it 3.5 stars. And then last but not least, a book in a winter setting, and I read Not So Merry Memories by Megan Brandy, and we follow Noelle and Roman. This story starts off on Noelle's perspective, hates her business partner slash ex-best friend for reasons we don't know, except for the fact that something happened between them and her previous relationship ended because of it. Now we go to Roman's perspective, and he loves Noelle, has always loved her. He just wants her back in his life, no matter how he can get her, but preferably in his bed and in a relationship with him. They travel to their business venture together as they opened a resort based on reclaiming memories, because Roman bought Noelle a magazine back in the day about these two people, a couple. The woman had gotten into an accident and had lost her memory and had to re-fall in love with her husband. Both of them missed out on so many holidays and memories, so she set their house up to reclaim each of those memories. So the living room was Christmas, the dining room was New Year's, and so on and so forth. And Noelle fell in love with this idea. So where the rooms at their hotel kind of have recreated their story almost, and there's a Christmas room, a library, there's a preschool, New Year's Eve, so on and so forth. While they're there for the opening, Roman announces to everybody that they're engaged, and they kind of have to live up this lie, and Noelle and Roman both come to a standpoint where they have to face their past. It was actually so good. It was done so tastefully. Megan Brandy also has written another series that I love, The Boys of Brayshaw High. I just love her writing style. Everything is so seamless and lovely and a joy to read. And I gave this book 4 stars. Those are all the books I read for the Orillium LightFall mini readathon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this little wrap up. Like this video if you did. Subscribe to my channel. We are growing slowly but surely here, and it makes my heart so happy. And I will catch you guys in day 22.